Good evening and welcome back to Sunday Night Live. Today is Sunday, March 29th, 2026, and tonight I want to talk to you guys about something a lot of job seekers are feeling right now. The job market looks active on the surface. Jobs are being posted. Companies say they're hiring. People keep hearing that opportunities are out there, but for a lot of candidates, nothing is moving. Applications are going out, replies are not coming in, interviews feel harder to get, and even when the market data says things are stabilizing, it still doesn't feel that good on the ground. The disconnect is what I want to break down tonight. I'm Mark Anthony Jackson, Talent and Client Coordinator here at Guhuza, and in this episode, we're going to talk about ghost jobs, the ghost job economy, and what to watch ahead of the April 3rd US jobs report, and why so many people feel like they're doing everything right but still getting nowhere. So let's start with the big picture. All eyes are on the next US jobs report coming out on April 3rd. After February's weak, very weak jobs number, a lot of people are hoping that March will show some kind of rebound, and maybe it will. But even if the number comes in a little better, that does not automatically mean that the entire market is healthy again. Because what we're still seeing is that the market is not collapsing, but it's also not really opening up. Companies are not doing the kind of mass layoffs that make headlines everywhere. At the same time, many of them are not hiring with confidence. So, what do you get? You get a market that feels stuck. No, not dead, not booming, just stuck. That's why so many people are confused. The headlines do not fully match the job search experience. A company can look stable, post roles, talk about growth, and still move painfully slow when it comes to the actual interviewing and hiring process. Now, what I want to get into is a little bit of talk about the biggest frustrations in the market, and that would be ghost jobs. I know many of you have heard about ghost jobs. This is something I keep hearing about over and over again. People are applying to roles they're qualified for, sometimes very qualified for, and still they hear absolutely nothing back. Part of the reason is not just every post being hired, not every post is a serious job, an active one. Some companies keep jobs to build their pipeline for the future. If someone leaves, some just want to look like they're growing, some are just collecting resumes before they actually are ready to move on the job. And in some cases, too, the role is technically posted, but there's no urgency, no clear budget, no real process behind it. And that's a problem because job seekers are already dealing with enough. Uh, if someone is spending hours applying, tailoring their resume, waiting, writing cover letters, and preparing for roles that aren't really moving, this is just frustrating. It feels like you're being drained. And when people go through that, the entire market starts to feel fake. That's why I keep saying visibility and timing over and over again. It is no longer enough to just apply and hope. You need to get closer to the real hiring activity, the real conversations, and the real signals that a company is actually ready to move. The next piece of this is AI. Last week, I spoke about automation and the pressure that is putting on entry-level work. This week, I want to frame it a little differently. AI is not just reducing certain tasks, it's raising expectations. More employers now expect one person to do more. They want faster output, better organization, better communication, more adaptability, more comfort with tools, and more proof that you can work intelligently, not just hard. That means for a lot of candidates, they're being judged less on effort alone and more on leverage. Can you use tools available now to make you faster? Can you communicate clearly? Can you solve problems without needing constant direction? Can you show that you are more than just a list of responsibilities on your resume? That is where a lot of the pressure is landing right now. The market is becoming less forgiving to people who are capable but not visible, and to people who are talented but not presenting the talent in a very clear way. So, what should job seekers actually take from all of this? First thing is, do not assume silence means that you're the problem. In most cases, it doesn't. Sometimes it's your resume, sometimes it's your positioning, sometimes it's your strategy, but sometimes the role itself is just not moving forward. Secondly, focus on focus less on volume and focus more on quality. And you could find these in different signals. Ask yourself, is this company actively interviewing? You could find out. You could find out. Does this role look urgent? Is there any sign that the hiring is actually happening here? Third, make it easy for someone to understand your value very quickly. Right now, attention spans are short, competition is high, and employers have many, many options. If your profile, resume, or pitch makes work too hard to understand what you bring to the table, then you're just at a disadvantage. And finally, do not rely on traditional apply and wait methods. That approach is becoming less reliable each and every day. The closer you are to a live interaction with a real recruiter and direct visibility, your chances they multiply over and over. You need to be able to speak to someone. And this is also why I want to mention our Thursday session. This Thursday at April 2nd at 2 p.m., I'm going to host a special edition of my weekly job search walkthrough and Q&A on Zoom. I'll be joined by Ian McLaughlin, and we are going to be focused on something very practical, and that's how to stand out when the market feels so crowded and slow. We're going to talk about strategies that can help job seekers get more attention and improve their presence, whilst avoiding wasting time on the wrong opportunities. We'll also do a quick walkthrough of the Guhuza platform, talk about the ways you can strengthen your profile and applications, and answer questions live. So if you're in the market currently and you're frustrated and you want to find some more practical ways to stand out rather than just the generic advice that you could find on YouTube, this session might be for you, and it's completely free. So I want to leave you guys with this. The market is not completely broken, but it's distorted. There are opportunities out there, but there's also a lot of noise, more delay, more caution, more pressure than people realize. That is why job seekers can't rely on old-fashioned strategies alone. You have to be sharper, faster, clearer, and more intentional. And most importantly, you need to stop measuring your worth based on whether the system's broken, whether a broken system responds to you. You can't measure your worth like that. If you want to join us on Thursday, the link will be in the description and the first comment. I'm Mark Anthony Jackson. Thank you for spending your Sunday with me, and have a great night. See you next time.